Welcome back to Pastry Maestra. I'm Teresa and today I'm making a rough puff pastry. You are not eager to tackle traditional puff pastry? You think that you lack skills, or you don't have the time, or you're just not in the mood? Well, this video is a godsend for you. Also known as blitz or flaky pastry, this type of puff pastry is a variation of the laminated dough that can be done quickly and easily. How so? Well, all you need is a standard food processor and a rolling pin. No sweat, right? Now, I must say this. Yes, making classical puff pastry is a time-consuming and complicated process, but the result is fantastic. Nothing can replace all those beautiful, thin and crispy separate layers, I tell you, nothing. So, if you want to learn how to make puff pastry, check my post. The link is in the description below. However, if you don't have the time, the rough puff will do just fine. It takes a minimum effort and a small amount of time. Naturally, like always in life, when you are taking shortcuts, there is a price to pay. In this case, you must know that the rough puff is real puff's poor cousin, and never will be a replacement for the good old stuff. So bear that in mind, okay? For example, traditional puff pastry, if made properly, should rise well during baking, and when you cut into it, you should see the separated layers of pastry. With the rough puff, you won't have such lamination, not by far. However, you will have a certain degree of flakiness and lovely buttery flavor, so no complaints there. Okay, one more thing, and I must emphasize this. Do not try to replace real classic puff pastry with rough puff in standard, well-known recipes like millefeuille, cream corns or vol au vent. The links are in the description below. It will not end well. However, rough puff is just perfect for turnovers, tarts, quiches or sausage rolls. So, all things considered, it's a win-win. Okay, let's wrap up that rough puff. As usual, the recipe is on my site. The link is down below. To make rough puff pastry, I'm gonna put sifted flour, salt and cold butter cut in dices into the food processor and pulse until I get crumbly mixture. The butter pieces shouldn't be larger than a pea. Now I'm gonna add ice-cold water and quickly combine until I get pastry with chunks of butter inside. Now I'm gonna roll the dough on a floured surface in a form of a long rectangle and fold it in thirds. This is also called a single turn. I'm gonna repeat the process 3 times, so I will have 4 turns in total. It isn't necessary to chill or rest the dough between the turns. After the 4th and final turn, I'm gonna clean my counter with a plastic scraper. Then I'm gonna wrap my rough puff in plastic foil. I'm gonna let the finished pastry rest in the refrigerator for at least an hour. You can leave it in the fridge overnight or store it in the freezer for 2 months. Make sure to defrost it in the fridge before use so it is cold for rolling. Now you're ready to make some quick turnovers, pigs in a blanket and sweet or savory tarts. Have fun!
Oh baby, you are so sweet, so delicious and yummy, so good to eat. I wanna lick you, feel your sweetness on my lips. Forever and ever, you'll stay on my hips.
I'm Teresa. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you liked it. If you want to stay in touch, follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and of course, visit my site, where you can find elaborate posts with lots of pictures, additional information and recipes that follow my every video. Also, On my site, you can download my free 365 pages ebook, The Pastry Chef, and maybe buy me a macaron if you think that I've earned it. Now, before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That really helps a lot. Finally, and this is the most important thing, don't forget to create sweetness every day, because sweetness is happiness. See you in my next video. Bye!